Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for today's event. This is the 3 Keys to Self-Love with Lorraine Pursell. I know we've also got a lot of people tuning in to check out the recording, but I'm so happy to see some names I recognize on here live right now. This is Shay from DIRECTPAY, and we had a lot of interest in this topic, which I think is so timely right now, and I'm really excited to have Lorraine here with us today. Lorraine is a marriage, family, and child counselor, a board-certified therapist and coach, and a best-selling author. She's a global thought leader on self-love and trading anxiety, guilt, and shame for ease and peace. In 2012, Lorraine began her successful journey out of lifelong depression, and now she passionately teaches others to trust themselves and hear their inner wisdom. And Lorraine's realness and authenticity on NBC TV shows, videos, and in her writing has earned her the respect of global fans since 1995. I hope you all had a chance to grab her ebook at www.3keystoselflove.com. And if not, we'll follow up with an email with that link. And I'm going to hand it over to Lorraine now, and we'll get started.
Yay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so my screen's, there we are. Hi, hello everybody. Shay, just so I have a feel, how many people are here with us live?
So far we have 16 people here live.
Oh, yay, hi. Well, my name's Lorraine Pursell, like Shay said, and you know, I'm really excited to share this topic with you because when I began my journey out of lifelong depression, these were the 3 keys that saved me. And I'm not saying that you're here because you have depression or you have anything like that, but I have found that these 3 keys have helped so many people around the world, and I still use them today. In fact, I used them this morning in my live stream. So the way this is going to go is I'm going to share 2 of the keys, and then I'm going to share an opportunity to go a little bit deeper with me if that resonates with you. Won't be salesy or pushy at all. And then I'll do the 3rd key. And then we're going to open it up to questions. So Shane, I really invite your questions. So go ahead and just keep putting them in the chat. She's going to pull them out, and then she's going to field the questions to me at the end. And I'm just so thankful that you're here today, especially in this time. I mean, is there a better time than now to have self-love? I mean, there is so much anxiety and so much pain and suffering in the world right now. It's like what's happened in the last 9 months has just been like ripping the Band-Aid off of the things in all of us that we've been trying to move away from or hide or not willing to face. And I think when the world is suffering, they get amplified in us. And so hopefully my wish and my intent is that these 3 keys really soothe you and bring you comfort in this time, and ultimately bring you back home to yourself, because that's where we're really headed with this journey today. So I don't know if you had a chance to download the worksheet, but there is a worksheet. If you don't have it, no worries. You're just going to want to take a piece of paper and maybe make a few notes. I made my notes here. So yeah, the first key is something that might seem like duh, but also, wow, why don't I do that? And that is to only see, hear, be around, consume, and do what makes you feel good. That is the first key to self-love and to your journey of coming back home to yourself. I'm going to repeat that because it's huge. It's huge, and I'll tell you why in a second. Only see, hear, do, and be around things that make you feel good. I'll give you a second to write that down. And because we live in a culture that says that self-love is selfish, loving ourselves, appreciating ourselves, acknowledging ourselves is selfish. It's counterintuitive sometimes, especially when those around us are suffering. We think we should get in there and suffer with them. But actually, the exact opposite is true. The exact opposite of, if someone else is suffering, you know, you don't like jump up and down and act all happy if they're suffering, but you're of no service if you get down in the trenches and suffer with them. You can have compassion, you can have empathy, but not get in there and wallow with them. It's like this. If you're walking along a cliff and you're with somebody and you make a false step and you slip down the cliff and you're hanging on by a root, who do you wish was there with you? Someone who is like just about to fall off the cliff too, or someone who has really solid footing and knows where they're going and knows who they are and is certain about their path? Which of these two people do you want with you? I want the person who is solid. I want the person who has energy. Because if it's someone like me and I'm falling off the cliff, it's not a good chance that I'm going to make it. So we want to be that person for those people around us. Shay and I had a conversation the other day that was so profound, I thought. And that was, we feel guilty, especially in this time, if we are doing well and other people aren't. I'm just going to let that set in for a second. We feel guilty and wrong if we are doing well when other people are not. But the opposite is true, because if we can have a smile on our face when we walk into the grocery store rather than, carrying the weight of the world, right? And you just caught the headline when you're walking in, or you happen to see CNN on your phone before you went in and you're just like, oh, you got this density around you. You're going to emanate that energy to everybody in the grocery store, just using the Starbucks. Your grumbling energy, your agitated energy is going to permeate to everybody versus somebody who's sunshiny and has something to be thankful for. That also emanates. And I think this is actually how we throw a lifeline to other people, because it can be so consuming out there, right? I mean, I'm really judicious to make sure that I don't have those feeds in Facebook or on my phone. I make sure I don't get any of those announcements on my email. I just won't, because I found out 30 years ago as a counselor that if I paid attention to what was going on in the Philippines with the hurricane, it would take me out. I would feel so bad. And then I was supposed to be up and positive for my clients. It didn't work. So I learned early on that I needed to really guard my energy. So, guarding the door of your mind is huge. So I was wanting to just ask you a little question. I have 3 little questions as we go into each of the 3 keys, to just have you go a little bit in, and nobody's going to see this. It's just between you and you. You're not going to share it with me or anybody else unless you would like to in the question and answer part. And go ahead and drop it in the chat if you have a question or you want to comment. But let's see. What do you regularly participate in that does not feel good? What do you regularly participate in that does not feel good? Just kind of go within right now and just feel that. Maybe it is when the news feed pops up on your phone. You're like, oh, I don't want to see that. And it's not that we don't want to see or know. It's that if it's not right in front of you and you're able to do something to make it better, all you can do is send good thoughts that way. So it's not like putting our heads in the sand. It's just we can't pick up that burden and expect ourselves to thrive. So where is somewhere in your life, it could be someone that you participate with, it could be a friend who complains all the time and that you can just feel your energy draining. And I've had to do this before with friends, to say, I can't hear complaining anymore. It physically was hurting my body to hear the complaining. So what is an area that you Notice your energy going down when you participate in it. And just go ahead and write that either on your worksheet or in your journal or on the back of this worksheet or anywhere you want. Just go ahead and document it. And then think, what can you do about it to just move a little bit? Now, it doesn't mean you're going to divorce your husband or you're going to, nix this friend forever. It just means what's maybe one subtle little step that you can take to just move yourself a little bit over, just a little bit over, and distance yourself from that thing that drains your energy. Go ahead and just think about that for a moment. And this is kind of scary, right? Because we're asking about a life change here. But it's okay, because each one of you are business owners or people who work in business, for some of the business owners that are with DIRECTPAY. And I just want to take a little bit of a segue and just honor Neil, Shay, and Jason at DIRECTPAY and all the people that I know there for hosting this webinar, because their intent is so wonderful. I've been with DIRECTPAY for a long time, and every time I have talked to them on the phone, they have just been warm and wonderful. And the more I've gotten to know Shay and Jason and Diana, I know really well. I just want to give a shout out to DIRECTPAY for this. I just think it's amazing because it really has nothing to do with business, right? Keys to self-love and business. Wait, aren't you going to talk about accounting? Aren't you going to talk about not getting chargebacks? Well, the thing is, they really want this to go into a community. And, we're all kind of in this together with DIRECTPAY. It's kind of a smallish company, and, they really do care about us. So I just want to give a shout out to all the people at DIRECTPAY, and thank you so much for letting me share today. So even though it might be a little scary, when you think about, at least we've planted the seed and you've started. Now, you don't have to go out and change the world with this. Your awareness is the biggest and the best piece of this. Just want you to let that settle in. Don't get panicked. Don't get afraid. Your awareness that when my partner's watching CNN and I'm just like going, oh, I need to just leave the room. I need to go for a walk. I need to gather up my kids and go play a game in the other room. What can you do? Because if it's affecting you, it's affecting your kids. And I know a lot of us are just with our families in a way that we haven't been for a long time. So it filters down to our kids too, if you do have kids. All right, so key number 2 is honor your feelings. Like just a minute ago, I just was like, thinking about CNN. So when you are in a situation where you don't like what you're seeing, it doesn't feel good what you're hearing, maybe somebody is angry. And I want to bring up this point. When you experience anger or fear, how much of that is in the world right now? Anger or fear for 5 minutes. For just 5 minutes, your immune system tanks for 5 hours. I'm going to say it again. When I call it indulging, when you cultivate anger, and how dare she, and how could they, and wow, I can't believe, that president, or whatever it is we get into, it hurts us. Our immune system tanks for 5 hours. Now, when you're talking about what we're dealing with right now with COVID, that's not really what you want to be doing. You do not want your immune system to tank. So how do we get out of that? We honor our feelings. What I mean by that is when you notice your body taking a hit, when you see something on CNN, when you hear something, when you hear somebody complaining, it's almost like the lust of complaining, the lust of bitterness. It's like this thing that goes, yeah, and it just starts to build like a slow fire. Going, and you're fanning that flame. It's like, whoo, step back. We want to go back to a place of peace and calm. Peace and calm, because in this state, we are only in this state, only in this state do we get the good ideas. Only in this state do the ideas settle in, when we are in a place of peace and calm and an uplifted state. When we are in fear, suffering, anger, guilt, shame, anxiety, panic, forget it, game over. You are just clamped down and nothing good can come through you or to you. You've just closed off all of your channels. And we are connected to something, universal intelligence. We are. No matter what your beliefs are, we are connected to universal intelligence. So only when we are open-hearted, and we can only be open-hearted if we've let go of the grudge, if we've let go of the bitterness, if we've let go of the resentment, if we've decided not to indulge in, I can't believe she said, I can't believe they did, and get out of the judgment. That's the only way we can be open-hearted and start receiving what this universal intelligence wants to deliver to us. Because you're here because life wanted to express itself through you. Seriously, that's why you're here. Life couldn't be in existence without expressing itself through you. Through you. Life couldn't bear to be life without you expressing your uniqueness. So only when we aren't in a place of fear, suffering, anxiety, guilt, panic, shame, doubt, we're going to feel these things. As human beings, we're going to feel these things. We just let them go through us. And I'm going to share a little technique that I use a lot with my communities, and it's called R-Deo. And the R, when we start to feel the panic come over us, when you honor your feelings, first thing you're going to do is get away from that situation. You're going to notice the feeling in your body. So the R-Deo, the R is relax. So right now, just kind of do a scan of your body and just notice, do you feel tension somewhere? Where do you feel it? In your neck? That's usually where I feel it. My neck, your shoulders, your gut. Some people, it's their hands, your brain. Do you have a little headache going on? What is it? So just notice it and just now imagine that some warm liquid is just flowing over that pain and just relaxing it deeply, just unwinding it. Just imagine that it's unwinding, 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 and relaxing, and relaxing, and relaxing. And now you're just going to surrender that thing, that grudge, that burden, that pain. You're just going to surrender it down into the earth. Just let it go. Now, this is the D for Deo. You're going to hold the deliberate intent of ease. The deliberate intent of ease. Now just imagine ease. I like to imagine myself just floating in a pool of kind of warm water. Maybe it's a stream that isn't flowing. I'm just kind of that part that's in stillness, and I'm just laying and I'm just receiving all the goodness that is there for me. And I'm just receiving. This is the ease. Just imagine whatever it is for you that represents ease. And just stay there for a moment. And then from this place, you're going to do the O, which is open-hearted. So just feel your heart expanding. The other day when I did this, my stomach did a flip. It was yesterday. Like, oh, open-hearted. I was a little nervous. And you might be feeling that too, but just practice being open-hearted. And if it's a really hard thing to do, it's okay. It's all right. Just notice. You'll be getting the replay of this and you can watch this little snippet again. The Ardeo practice is what I call that. Relax and then surrender whatever that thing is that's making the tension in your body. Whenever we have a thought, our body responds. So if you have a thought of the panic in the world, the unrest, the racial injustice, if you're holding on to those things, now, if you're feeling directed to do something about it, if there's someone in your neighborhood, or if you're, feeling called to start a petition or something, yes, by all means. But if it's something across the world, I mean, maybe you can resolve to be kinder. Maybe you can resolve to always hold the door for somebody. Maybe you can just resolve to work on yourself, to be a contributor to this world and this society. That is something you can do something with. But if it's somewhere else, you got to just let it go. You have to. Or else, remember, it's going to take your immune system out for 5 hours. And what we've got now in the world is people in this constant soup of anger, frustration, fear, panic, anxiety, shame, guilt, blame. I want to unwind that. All right. I want to help you unwind that and take you off the hook and let you feel good no matter what is going on in the world. So that Ardeo practice, you can reset with that several times during the day, because several times during the day, there's going to be stuff that's going to make you feel panic and anxiety. So honoring our feelings. When you think about the things in number one, key number one, that you might want to shift and change, where in your body do you feel it? Do you feel it in your gut? Can't see my gut right now, but my hand is on my gut. Do you feel it in your heart? This is your high heart. This is where your thymus gland is. Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your shoulders? Do you feel it in your neck? Do you feel like a headache starting here? Where are you feeling your body respond? Honor that. Honor that. That is your body. This is your body intelligence speaking to you for survival. And it's telling you to get away from that situation. So honor your feelings. So my question for you with key number 2 is, where in your body do you feel it? Most people feel it in the same place all the time. Like for me, my heart just starts to seize up and my gut starts to flip. Where in your body do you feel it when you're in a situation that is not feeling good and your body is saying, get away from this now? Get away from this now. Where is your spot? Go ahead and write that down on your sheet. And again, you don't have to change the world with this. This might just be starting to bring awareness to it. This talk might just be starting to give you permission to do something that you've wanted to do for a long time, like, maybe spend less time with that friend, maybe spend less time watching the news, maybe only watch the news when you're really in a good place, so that you're strong enough to not go down with the ship. But really paying attention to what doesn't feel good and paying attention to that, because we have lost touch with ourselves, especially in 2020. We've lost touch with ourselves, with our own inner wisdom. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. was I have a program called the Women's Self-Love Journey Program. And I've done a super, super, super special price just for direct pay. It's a 12-module program that takes you deep into coming back home to yourself, takes you deep into self-appreciation, takes you deep into self-awareness, to where you no longer self-abandon, to where you no longer throw yourself under the bus. You've got your own back. And not in a defensive way, but in a loving way that generates love for your family, for your extended family, and your community. So these 12 modules go through every single tiny little space in your heart and your soul and reveal to you who you really are, the beauty that's in you. Now, it's called the Women's Self-Love Journey Program. Men can benefit from it also, but what is for women only is the private, confidential, private Facebook group that's kind of small and intimate. We've got about 40 people in there, and starting tomorrow, we're going to do our first live video call where once a month we're going to go through one of the modules at a time and just kind of open up the topic, and we can see and hear each other versus being silent and just writing in Facebook and in my live streams where I'm just talking and reading people's comments. So I'm really excited. We're all really excited about these monthly video calls. And this is not a membership program. I don't even know I am doing it this inexpensively. This was an $800 program when I first did it. And it's for you guys, for direct pay, it's only $67. I just raised the price online to $197. It was $97, and we just bumped it up $100 to $197. So for you guys, for direct pay, it's only $67. So like I said, it's not a membership program. You get all 12 modules and worksheets, and then you've got the Facebook group to connect with. And then we've got these monthly live video calls. So if that is calling to you, only if that's calling to you, this is not salesy, this is not, any pressure at all, just if this is connecting to you and you'd like a little more support. And some of the things that might have been a little scary in this, it might be a little scary with key number 3. It's okay, because we all feel that, right? It's at LorrainePursell.com/DP. LorrainePursell.com/DP for direct pay. And that's, Shay has the link somewhere, I think in the comments, but I'll spell it for you. LORRAINE, P as in Paul, URS as in Sam, ELL.com, LorrainePursell.com/DP for direct pay. And I think it's lowercase dp. I don't think it matters. So that's my invitation to you if you would like to go deeper and have a little more support with this. And in that group is right now the only group that I am offering one-on-one coaching. So that's another possibility too, if you do need deeper support or want deeper support. I've been a counselor and a coach for 26 years, and worked with so many people in so many situations, and I've needed to take a step back from one-on-one coaching, and I'm just now getting back into it again. And so this is the one place that I'm going to be offering one-on-one coaching, and is with people in the Women's Self-Love Journey program. All right, so let's go on to key number 3. If you have any questions about that, just put it in the questions, and we'll be happy to answer those at the end when Shay's back on screen. All right. All right, key number 3. Let me just check how we're doing on time. Okay, we're doing great. Okay, key number 3. This one is kind of huge. This one is huge. And like I said, I need to use the 3 keys all the time. But it's love yourself enough to walk away. Love yourself enough to walk away. Now, when I first started this journey, I guess it was going on 8 years ago now, I couldn't love myself to walk away. I didn't love myself to honor my feelings. I did not think that I could get away from situations that didn't feel good. I thought I had to dive in and take a bath in everybody else's misery. So these 3 keys pulled me out of the deepest self-loathing, the deepest dislike of myself, and brought me back on my feet to solidly the road to now being a solid contributor to society. And I don't have bad days anymore. No, that's not true. Once in a while I do, but I know what to do with it. I know what it is and I know what to do with it. So loving yourself enough to walk away takes courage. Maybe it's your husband who's starting an argument and you're like, you know, I can't talk to you now while you're in this state. Maybe we can pick this up tomorrow morning. Or maybe we can go for a walk and talk about it while we're walking. Did you know that when you're in a, I'm sure you know this, but I'm just going to state the obvious. When you are in a state where you're agitated and you start to escalate, you're actually in a hypnotic trance and you don't breathe and you don't hear anything and you don't see anything and you start to get tunnel vision. You notice it starts going in like this. I'm speaking from personal experience here, so I understand this so much. So it's like the blinders come in and all of a sudden this is all you see and everything else is black and kind of like twirling around you. And you've just got this one thing, and you're on this one thing. And no good thing can come from this place. So if you or your partner or you and a friend or you and your children are in this state, you need to stop and take a breather. And then agree to come back maybe in 5 minutes, sort your thoughts out. And when things are calm, then you go back into it. But you cannot do anything productive from that space. And that is that thing that takes your immune system out for 5 hours, right? So just start being the assertive one in your relationships that will say, no, I can see you're getting agitated. I'm starting to feel a little agitated. I need to step away from this right now until I can just breathe, get connected to my breath again. And let's agree to meet back up in 10 minutes. And then when you meet back up in 10 minutes, if it starts to escalate again, you step out again. This is the biggest save that you can have. So that's just a little aside tip. Trip. It is kind of like a trip. So where are you going to take yourself when you go into a hypnotic trance? It's like being hypnotized. You can see nothing around you. You're walking on automation. There is nothing unique or unusual going on inside of you. It's time to separate, go for a little walk, get your vision opened up again, do that Ardeo practice, relax, surrender it, then hold the deliberate intent of ease and open-heartedness. Oh my gosh, imagine coming back into your, we'll call it discussion with your partner, friend, child from this place. And if they start to escalate again, just say, okay, let's take another break. And it's okay. It's just the smartest, wisest thing you can do. So loving yourself enough to walk away. Now, have you ever wanted to walk away from a situation and felt ridiculed and put down by somebody? I mean, we're risking a lot by standing up for ourselves and walking away. We're risking a lot. We're risking being a little bit persecuted. We're risking being rejected. We're risking being judged. We're risking not being understood. We're risking that other person maybe thinking that we're not in their camp or that we're abandoning them But the most important thing I want to get across to you is there's no abandonment as bad as self-abandonment. Write that down. There is no abandonment worse than self-abandonment. And when you stay in a situation because of guilt, because of obligation, because of pressure, because of fear of rejection, you are throwing yourself under the bus. This is something that we need to practice all the time. So loving yourself enough to walk away is key number 3, and it is huge. It means that you have to notice that you're in something that doesn't feel good, key number 1. And then you have to notice honor your feelings. And then once you've noticed that, then you love yourself enough to peacefully walk away. Not walk away with a barb and a jab, but love yourself enough to walk away and take care of yourself, because the number 1 most important thing is that you feel good. There is nothing more important than that you feel good. There is nothing more important than that you feel good. You might want to write that one down too. So loving ourselves enough to walk away. Let's just write down, what are your fears around walking away from a situation? Maybe walking away from your child when they refuse to calm down, when maybe they're attacking you. Maybe your partner has picked up some new flavors of insults in this time of being so closely connected during COVID. And when they start to do it, you loving yourself enough to walk away and just staying in that good feeling. And the longer you're in this journey of the 3 keys to self-love, the easier it will be to practice the 3 keys, and the quicker you're going to notice if something isn't feeling good. The quicker you're going to notice, oh, my gut, all of a sudden I feel sick to my stomach. Oh, I know why. I just happened to listen, CNN was in the background, or I got onto my email on Yahoo and they're blasting all this stuff at me. How can I change my settings on my email provider so that I don't see that? Still sending it love, still sending it good thoughts, still sending, energy as one human being to another, just like you would a loved one. But you love yourself enough to walk away and deeply regard yourself. So what might be the fears that would keep you stuck in a situation that you really want to get away from, you're really not enjoying? Your body is starting to run with adrenaline because it's activated so many things in you. Maybe it's activating the fight and flight, flee thing going on. You want to run, but you don't. You feel like you have to stay there. Maybe you're afraid the person will think you're not loyal to them. Maybe you're afraid they'll say, everyone else abandoned me and you're abandoning me too. My battery's running low. Sorry, hang on a second. Shoot, I'm having trouble plugging it in on the other side. Hold on. Because I had the plug turned around the other way. I told Shay that's why it's so great that she's here today, because if I have to do buttons and talk at the same time, I'm hopeless. So I'm trying to shove the plug in with it twisted, right? Trying to get that little prong into the slot. No. So love yourself enough to walk away. What are the fears? You know a situation right now that you need to walk away from, or a potential situation that you wish you had walked away from, that just made more damage for you, made more damage for your kids because you stayed in it? What is that situation? And what are your fears for actually loving yourself enough to walk away with? Go ahead and write it on your notes or on your sheet or on your journal. I had to walk away from a marriage. I'm not telling you that you have to do that, but this is where it all came back to for me. And in the ebook, 3 Keys to Self-Love, which is actually the companion book to this webinar, and you can go ahead and get that at 3keystoselflove.com. I realized I had to leave an emotionally abusive marriage, which was very hard. I had a 4-year-old boy at the time, and I thought I would be homeless. But I knew I had to leave so that he didn't think that that was how you treat a woman. So that began a pretty big journey for me. And again, I'm not telling you that you have to do that. That was just very clear to me that I had to do that. But it could be. So some big things this could be bringing up for you. And I just honor you for the journey of honoring yourself so that you can start to come back home to yourself. But it can be very, very scary. So I'm just going to give you another maybe 30 seconds to write down what you think you need to move away from, what you feel like you need to move away from, and what your fears are of walking away from it, and the toll that it's taking by staying in that situation. Whether it be a life situation or it's just hanging out and watching the news, or even listening to the radio with the commercials. Maybe they make you feel not so good about yourself. And that's not what you want to be swimming in. That's not the water you want to be swimming in. You know, we are in a society that lives from here on up. We're cut off from our neck down. Okay, we are afraid to feel our bodies. And if that's you, it's okay. This was me 30 years ago when I began my journey, when I left my husband and began the road to self-discovery. You know, the journey into feeling our bodies can be a very threatening journey because we have to feel our feelings. And if we stay up here in our head, we don't have to feel it. We can rationalize it away. We can be logical. And that only takes us so far. That only takes us so far. That keeps us up here in the world of just the logical. And there is not a lot of depth to that. You're still a great person. You're still a wonderful human being, but you deserve more. You deserve the journey of coming back home to yourself and starting to acknowledge and feel your feelings. So what might you be needing to walk away from? And what might be the fears around that? I just feel so honored that I got to share this with you today. And we're going to take your questions now. Hopefully somebody has some questions or some comments. You know, what was this like for you? Are you already doing some of the 3 keys? What are you finding that's working for you? We would love to hear from you. And Shay, are you there? There you are. I can't hear you, Shay.
Well, that'll help if I unmute myself, right?
Yay.
Yeah, we do have some questions coming over. I've written a couple of them down too. But I wanted to keep, I guess, talking a little bit about this concept of love yourself enough to walk away, just because we had a couple about that, and I was even thinking about it for something personally. But just to share with you what some of the attendees on the call are sharing with me on here. Tom wrote that his fears around walking away are losing business with a difficult client and demanding partners. So thinking about that with work, I get that too. It's a little harder to just say I'm gonna walk away from this. So if you have any thoughts on that.
I do. Can I share it now?
Yeah.
Tom, thank you so much for sharing that insight. Oh my gosh, I've been in this situation so many times. And there is a way to still do business with them by getting yourself in a right position. Like maybe you just can't afford to drop them, right? Like you don't want to drop kick them, but you can get yourself into a state where you just go, okay, when I'm going to be addressing this person, I am going to remember who I am so that I don't feel abused by them. So I'm going to remember who I am. And so I'm not sure exactly what the particulars might be, but when I'm thinking about situations that I've been in like that, you feel a little put down, you feel like they're asking too much of you. You might want to, put a few boundaries up, but there is a way to do it until it's the right time to move away from it. And it might not be right now. Might not be right now because you might really need the income. But, I don't know if maybe you have some kind of meditation or spiritual practice. I just got a comment from a client this morning that was just mind blowing. She was getting bullied at work because she got a promotion and the people at work were spraying her with Lysol and vandalizing her car because they were mad they should have gotten the promotion, they thought. And we started picturing that situation neutralizing. So if you can just hold in your heart that situation is neutralizing, and maybe because they're not happy if they're demanding and uncomfortable. So if you start to, it's for the highest good of all, right? And I'm sorry if my speech is kind of like spiritual or whatever. That's just, really who I am. I'm trying to tone it down a touch. But I was astounded. She said that this woman who was the biggest culprit actually quit, or she got fired or something. And the other person who was vandalizing the car, came to her senses, and now everything's great, and the work ethic is fabulous in her workplace, and HR got involved, and so there's really something to this. So I hope that helps you, Tom. It doesn't mean you need to, cut off the client, but how can you come in your frame of mind to deal with it better so it doesn't take a toll on you? Like maybe, okay, I'm only going to deal with them for this hour. I can do this. How can you talk to your team maybe about how to serve them better? And by the way, if you do have a needy partner or child or business situation like this, what they're really saying is that they need more love and attention. So you might ask them, how can I better serve you? Which might feel really threatening right now because you go, oh my gosh, they're going to ask for more from me. But at least, what I've found is that in all my travels as 25 years as a counselor, when people say they need something, I just give it to them. If they need something, I just say yes. I just give it to them. They need more time, more attention, blah, blah, blah. Everything just, once it's heard, it tends to neutralize. So I hope that's helpful, Tom. Thank you so much for that comment. Oh my gosh, that's really a good one, right, Shay?
Yeah, definitely. And I got another one that's kind of in line with that. I'm sorry, let me just find it, just because it was so relevant to that. It was basically about setting better boundaries. Oh yeah. So Tanya was asking if you can't walk away, which is kind of what comes up, I guess, when you have quick answers to the fear question, then that is that feeling of, well, I can't walk away from this. My fears are valid. They're justified. If you feel that you can't walk away, how do you set better boundaries? And I think you did just sort of speak to that by saying, okay, I'm going to make boundaries for myself, like, okay, I'll deal with this for this 1 hour, and then after that, that's when I'm going to move on. So
Yeah, and it's especially challenging if it's a child or a partner that you live with, right? It's kind of like if you have a dog who is scratching at the door of your bedroom all the time, you're going to do something to alleviate that annoyance. Sorry for saying that I'm doing here, but that's what it's like, right? Or the partner that just keeps complaining or talking about how bad things are at work, and you're like, I can't hear this. I can't hear this. So loving yourself enough to walk away is politely excusing yourself and leaving the room. It is doing whatever it takes to keep yourself in a place of peace and say, you know, I really want to be here for you, but I just can't hear this right now. You know, if you are a sounding board for somebody, and boundaries need to be clear. I just found out, was it yesterday, that I was violating somebody's boundaries. I did not know because it wasn't clear enough to me. I did not know. She had hinted, but I didn't know. It was like, I didn't get it. So maybe, and I was doing it, right? So maybe you need to be more clear, like really clear. Like, look, let me be clear. I can't listen to the complaining right now. It is hurting my stomach. I need to go to my little corner with my meditation music. You know, maybe it's that you need to go to bed earlier. Maybe you need the television to be lower. I mean, wow, the stew that we have been in with all of a sudden being in these situations with people that we're used to having reprieves from. Now we're all safe in our own houses, right? So I hope that's helpful.
yeah, I think it's especially helpful to think about what, especially when it comes to personal relationships, what is it that they need, that where is that need for that love and attention coming from, and addressing that head on instead of just saying, hey, listen, I think it's great to say I can't handle this right now, but then going inward and saying, okay, why is this person so needy right now? And the reason why I'm bringing that up actually is because one of the things that I thought of is that I actually have a family member who constantly complains to me about their spouse, constantly. And I have a good relationship with both them and their spouse. And I let her do it. And, she's looking for me to, I guess, validate her feelings or vent with her about it, but I don't agree. So I'm kind of just, yeah, oh, that must be difficult. But I find that when I leave, I feel so drained emotionally and energy wise. And then it takes me like a good day to recover from it, because I don't feel good about myself that I guess that I allowed it to happen. So, she clearly needs a sounding board, but you know what I mean? I have to be very, very clear that I'm not that person, so.
Hard to be clear because we don't want to be unkind.
Yeah.
Really hard to be clear. But I remember, the point when my good friend, I mean, she was a good friend, and I just said, I cannot listen to complaining anymore. And this is what I did. I said, okay, because I sometimes vented with her. It was every time we complain, we have to come up with 5 things we appreciate about this person or this situation. So pretty soon it was like, okay, we peep out one little complaint, but then we have to come up with 5 things, and we were counting them. We were holding each other's feet to the fire. And it was like, wow, pretty soon we were focusing on the positive and not so much the negative. Wow, there's a lot of good here. I appreciate this. And by the way, this kind of does bother me, but you can listen to it when it's balanced out like that. So it was like putting, guardrails on this dynamic of us complaining to each other. And she admitted that's all she does is complain. And so I just physically couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, and I think, even at work too, that does become a drain when you get involved in, even if it's also office gossip or gossip among your team, or, the negativity, especially now, because it's so easy to say, you know what, I just need to vent, and I just need to vent, but there has to be, like you said, a stopgate for the venting.
Yeah, it's nice to have a person to vent to. Like I vented to my trainer yesterday. And I realized she's kind of becoming like a pseudo counselor to me. So while I'm working out and pumping iron, I'm working it through, and I'm saying, but you know, this is good, and blah blah blah. And so there might be someone like that, maybe your hairstylist, I don't know.
I want to make sure I get to this question just because I think it's so interesting. Melissa was talking about the distinction between self-love and self-care, because I think self-care became
Oh, good.
and
Oh my gosh.
thank you for talking about
Yeah.
self-love and the distinction between it and self-care. And basically asking, does self-love ever become selfish? And I think part of the reason that that question came up is because when this whole self-care movement kind of came up, people actually started to talk about toxic self-care, and too much self-care, or I deserve this, and using it as an escape, or whatever it is. So I don't know if you could speak a little bit more to that, the difference between the two.
Melissa, I'm so glad you brought this up, because Shay and I were talking about this when we were developing this webinar. It's like, getting your hair done and getting your nails done, while it feels great, it like is not self-love. I just will tell you, it's a distraction to self-love. Because as you can tell from the questions I asked you, this is deep, scary stuff. And it's loving yourself enough and caring enough about your own responses on a deep nervous system way and a body health way, that you're getting away from toxic situations. And I think in a lot of ways, having that glass of wine with a girlfriend, Shay and I were talking about that, I'll just go out and have a glass of wine with her. Well, what does that do? It just kind of like covers it up for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have to deal with it. Self-love is doing the hard work. And it is hard work to go deep and trust that it's going to be okay, and be brave enough to look within, and then honor what you find when you're there. It's a huge body of work. And again, that ebook, it's free, and it will just kind of set you on that journey. It just fleshes it out a little bit. It's just like a 20-page quick read. But also the Women's Self-Love Journey program, if that speaks to you, is a deeper dive into this with this small community of people where we're going through this journey together, and it's an unfolding. It's a continually unfolding. Huge question, Melissa. I think it was Melissa, right? Not Melinda, Melissa.
Melissa, yeah.
Huge distinction that I forgot to bring up. So thank you so much. I hope that answers it. Do you think that answers it well, Shay?
I do, and I was excited about that too, just because I have so many friends that are like, it's a self-love night, and we're going out with the girls, and I'm like, well, that's great, and it is sort of, but I don't say anything, but I'm kind of like, well, yeah. I don't know though, you know what I mean? Like addressing things head on, and really, taking the time. And to speak to the point about selfishness too, there can be nothing more selfless in some ways than allowing people to see, to I guess honor you if they care about you and your boundaries and what they want, what you really want. I mean, so I don't think it's ever selfish to say, listen, this is what I need right now, so.
Like, let's say you have a meditation practice and your partner wants to have sex with you, and you're like, sorry, I need to do my meditation practice, because that's what you need to ground yourself for the rest of the day. Sorry. Yeah. It's like, where are your priorities? We have to keep ourselves grounded so that we can be that person to offer the hand to when they fall off the cliff and they're about to like lose it. Like, no, we're going to bring you back to center and remember who you are. This is who I am. I'm working very much to keep myself in this place. I'm not going to let you go down.
Yeah. I got I just want to make sure I got two more questions, and I know we're running out of time, but I just wanted to get to Renee's question, because she sent it right at the beginning, and it was when you were talking a bit about what's going on in the world, and how people are struggling individually as far as the pandemic, and also with what's going on the news. And she just basically said, as an empath, what are some good ways for me to cope with others' pain and misfortune without walking away or without avoiding them?
Let's just take a deep breath on that one. because that is so huge. And this is actually the demographic that I work most with, are the empaths, the sensitives. And because we can feel it, and it actually feels like it's ours. And so what we do, because we can't avoid that we're feeling it, is we move the energy through us. Like, you might be feeling fear for the collective. You might be experiencing shame and doubt and fear and anger for the collective. And so as you can breathe and let that go through you and not take it personally, not try to find a reason for it, although something might have triggered it, and not try to like make it change the world, just stay with that feeling and let it do that Ardeo practice and let it relax and go through you, and then come back to that place of peace. That is how you take care of it. Because coming back to that place of peace and calm is what you're going to be emanating, like the ripple in the water, and someone else on the other side of the pond is going to be able to catch that breath of fresh air. When you walk into the grocery store, you're going to be able to emanate that energy instead of the agitated, oh my God, I feel so sad. You know, that is just going to take you out. I hope that answers it. Shay, do you think that answered it properly?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of, I think a large amount of our community, because they're involved in so many different helping
You know,
professions,
you're right.
would identify as empaths. So I think that it definitely speaks to that.
Yeah, good. So I hope that answered it well enough. I mean, it might sound too woo-woo, but I'm serious. We are picking up the energies, especially if we are empaths, as coaches, counselors, healers. We're feeling it. So when you have a day where you just can't get your bearings, you just do the best you can to be gentle with yourself and take care of yourself, and just let that day no, tomorrow's going to be a better day.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's going to be a better day. And don't take it personally when you have bad days. Do not take it personally when you have bad days. Don't make it mean something about you. Just let yourself experience that day. You're experiencing what other people all over the planet are experiencing. They don't know what to do with it. They think it's them. And just let that, do your best to come back to center, and then take a nap. Go for a walk. I think that'll feel good. Preferably not alcohol, because it's just going to, like, pound it. Drive it deeper. Oh God, now I've got to find this again.
Okay, well, yeah, I just wanted to mention that Anne said, thank you so much for this. Mental and spiritual health are just as important right now. So, and I wanted to,
thank you.
Yeah, I want to close with this question from Christian. It's a two-part question. Can you just say really quickly the 3 keys again, and then just
of course.
And then tell everyone a little bit more about the 12 modules.
Okay, great. So the 3 keys are key number 1, and I have to sometimes go and look them up too. So, and if you want like the real thing, you can download the worksheet, or you can just go to 3keys2selflove.com and just put in your name and email address. That means you'll be more closely associated with me. You'll be getting emails from me of my free live streams that I do 3 times a week that are nothing but uplifting and raising the energy of the planet, frankly. So the 3 keys are: number 1, what is it? I have to look. I do this all the time. What is it? Okay. Only see, hear, do, be around what makes you feel good. Only see, watch, hear, be around what makes you feel good. That was key number 1. And you might want to write these on a little 3x5 card and put them somewhere in your house. Key number 2 is honor your feelings. When you have that in your gut, or your heart just starts to crawl, my chest sometimes will crawl. I haven't felt that in a long time. That tells me that I've been, doing a pretty good job. So honor your feelings. Your feelings. That means get out of your head and be brave enough to go into the journey of your body. Honor your feelings. And key number 3 is love yourself enough to walk away. Love yourself enough to walk away. Okay, and then the modules on the Women's Self-Love Journey program. This was like, I totally outdid myself, I have to tell you. It is like hour-long audio modules with worksheets, where the first one is Inner Child and Fear. I'm not going to remember all the modules, but we just go deep into your unique ability. And I wish I had it in front of me, but if you go to LorrainePursell.com/DP, there's the whole page on that, and you can just read it. And it's not one of those sales pages that like manipulates you and grabs you in and then you feel like you have to buy it. It's not like that, because that's not how I am. But you can just read it and see the modules, and like about 25 different women who have just sworn by it, completely shifted their life. But it's really the journey into self-discovery, and I'm just totally not remembering the modules right now. But so forgive me. But Fear in the Inner Child is the first module, and just that one alone, we make an altar to ourselves. I've got mine sitting right over there. And tomorrow on our Zoom call, we're gonna, show each other our little altars. And there also is cinema therapy that I have in there, these different movies that just open up your heart and have a message for that particular module. So I'm just drawing a blank on the module names, but there are 12, and they're hour-long audios that you can download, and then the worksheets if you want to use them. And then we've got the private Facebook group that you can just ask questions in there. Everyone is on the same journey. If they've gone through the whole program, they're still there, and they're there to, support you, whatever you might be going through. And if you're going through it, someone else is too. So it's a really awesome thing. I wish I could remember all of the modules, but there's definitely health and wellness is in there. Just not remembering them. But I have a bonus module of two of my esteemed colleagues, Sarah Wayne and Sandra Bavacqua. She's a biochemist specializing in, the human body, and bonus interviews with them. So it's just amazing. It was an $800 program, and some people went through it twice because it was so beneficial. That was $1,600 for them, and it's only $67 for you guys with direct pay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And I got to be honest with you, I want to do it, because I even just the idea of like making an altar to myself and, putting the index cards, even here from what I got off of the call today. I mean, when you said, what do you regularly participate in that does not feel good? I wrote that in huge letters on my piece of paper.
And what was it, Shay?
I wrote it in huge letters on my piece of paper. What do you regularly participate in that does not feel good? Because right away I thought of 2 or 3 things, and I was like, then why do I do that?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's for our fears. We're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of ridicule. It goes back to like the playground, right?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of mine actually come from a feeling of loyalty, and like you said, if I abandon this person, or if I'm not loyal to this person, but I like you said, self-abandonment is even worse. So yeah.
There's a way to finesse it and be super polite about it and make it about you. I'm so sorry. I just don't have the guts for this right now. It's just me. It's not you. You can take full responsibility. Because one thing I know about those of us in this ilk is that, we are lovers and not haters. And so we don't want to cause any harm to anybody. We don't want anybody to feel bad about themselves. So we will throw ourselves under the bus just to make someone else feel okay.
Yep. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a follow-up email to everyone on the call with the link to the ebook to make sure that everybody got it, because I think there's a couple of you that didn't download the ebook yet. I want to make sure you get that, and then we'll include that link also to the program, so you can learn more about that and get signed up, and definitely take advantage of that special offer.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, don't tell anybody in the Facebook group that you got it for only $67, but no, it's okay, because it's it's like just a really special offer for direct pay. Because I just really, again, a shout out to Shay and Jason and Neil for, allowing me to come and share this today, because, they really care about your well-being. They want your business to thrive. And I'm just so honored that I could be here with us today. And we're talking about maybe doing some more in the coming future. So maybe you could, drop in the comments what might be some good topics for me to go into. And I'd be so happy and honored to do that.
Yeah, we would love that, and I'm actually gonna put my email in there too, so that you guys can reply and give us some feedback on this session, and also let us know there too, what topics you'd be interested in hearing more about, and we're definitely hoping to do this more often, just to keep everybody balanced and in good shape, while the whole thing has gone topsy-turvy for a little while. So
Thank you so much for joining us today and taking time out of your day to be here. It's been really an honor to spend time with you. And I wish that I could see you, but I know you're there, and I'm just really thankful that I got to spend this time with you all today. Thank you so much for being here, showing up
thank
for yourself.
Thank you for being here, and I'm gonna send that email right now, so you guys should all check your email. And thank you again, Lorraine. This was great.
My pleasure, my extreme pleasure. Thanks so much, Shay.
All right, take care.